This past weekend, the sequel to The Babysitter, titled The Babysitter Killer Queen, was released to Netflix, and yes, I will be reviewing that in this video, but I actually hadn't seen the first one until last weekend, so let's take some time and look back at the 2017 horror comedy The Babysitter, directed by McG. 12-year-old Cole has the hots for Bee, played by Samara Weaving, the badass neighborhood teen who is also Cole's babysitter when his parents go out of town. But since this is a horror comedy and involves babysitting, it definitely has to have something to do with devil worship and human sacrifice. It's hard to deliver a pizza anymore without there being devil worship involved. Cole must battle not just a shotgun-wielding Bee, but also her goofy friends armed with cheerleader outfits and shirtless poses. The leads are great. Samara Weaving is equal parts scary and funny, and is always cool and badass as hell. Judah Lewis is great as our lovesick hero. I dig how he progressively just gets more stressed annoyed over the course of the movie.
You skin your palms? They bother you a lot? The ground? Kick him in the dick.
It's actually a good thing this cult attack happened, since at the beginning, it looked like he was one plague away from becoming Harold in The Stand. The gore is a lot of fun. The movie's not afraid to just spray gallons of blood on your face from puncture wounds. And even a shot from a handgun will send someone flying across the room like they were hit with a cannonball. There's little things I like too, how one of the villains takes time out from trying to kill Cole to give him a pep talk on how to stand up to the school bully. There's great soundtrack cues, particularly very good uses of Spooky and We Are the Champions. And okay, I don't have arachnophobia at all, but my wife does, and there's a tarantula scene in this movie which, she was at work when I watched this, but I felt I could hear her screams. Now, granted, this is a McG movie, and it is one of his better films, but there's certainly a lot of McG-isms that were a bit over the top. It can't just be a shot of kids riding a bike, it has to do quick CSI-style cuts. Cole and Bee aren't just watching Billy Jack, but it's projected onto the garage, and they're reenacting it in front of the projector. There's a makeout scene between Bella Thorne and Samara Weaving that's like a horny 13-year-old reenacting the film with dolls. It's not so much that Cole witnesses a murder, but it has to put the text, "What the F?" across the screen. And when he finds a pocket knife, it says, "Pocket knife, bitches!" Or when he finds a rocket, and it says, "Hell yeah!" Dude, you're already a pretty good movie. Tone it down with the hip shtick. One scene has Cole watching Mad Men on his bed, complete with a lot of cuts and fast motion, though I do really like that there was a clever callback to this later. Where one McG-ism really worked though, is a pivotal scene that involves a car, a ramp, and a house. It was one hell of a climax. This is a very entertaining film, sold by the performances and its violent sense of humor. If you enjoyed things like The Guest or House of the Devil or Better Watch Out, you'd get a kick out of this. I give the movie a very appropriate B. And in 2020, we got the sequel with McG returning, as well as Samara Weaving and Judah Lewis. Is it as good as the first one? Well, let's find out.
You've gone loco again, Cole! I did not go loco! Where'd you get the crossbow?
The Babysitter Killer Queen is not as good as the first one. It's a couple years later, and Cole is an anxiety-ridden high schooler, still unpopular and still bullied because no one believes him that the events of the first movie happened. Okay. They'll soon find out for sure that he's telling the truth when he goes on a trip with his classmates, and the same thing happens again that happened in the first movie. McG returns as director, but sadly the original film's writer Brian Duffield does not return, and instead is replaced by 4 different writers giving 4 different voices to this movie. I'm not sure if the writing was split up exactly like I'm about to say, but for the sake of talking about the movie, let's pretend it went a little something like this. Okay, so you have one voice who wants to make this the Slumber Party Massacre 2 of babysitter movies. Alright, I can respect that. Then you have another voice who just wants to do the same movie all over again, right down to characters getting the same injuries. The first act in the school is almost scene for scene. The villains in the first movie were fun, so let's get them back again by explaining, they were in limbo. Cole is deeply in love with a girl, but she turns out to be a devil worshiper who wants to sacrifice him, and instead he falls for another girl who helps him along the way. And let's do some other things from the first one, but more and bigger. The first movie had a Queen song in it, so let's not only put another Queen song in this, but make it the subtitle of the movie. Did you like the title cards from the first one? Oh, we'll do those again, only we'll give characters Scott Pilgrim Kill Bill style flashback sequences and a fight scene that is shot like Street Fighter 2 to the point to where the text "Fight" comes right out at the screen. But we want stoners to watch this, so okay, let's get a voice in here to make it like a Judd Apatow movie. We'll have the main plot going on, but then randomly cut to Ken Marino and Chris Wilde improvising away while playing video games and smoking weed. Like if you sat on the remote and switched the guest over to the 40-year-old virgin. And the loudest voice in the movie is the one who is constantly crowbarring in reference after reference after reference. Of course, there's nothing wrong with adding references to your movie, especially if it's a parody, or if it's about movies, or if it feels really natural to the characters or the conversation. But my god, this film has more references than a Cinema Snob episode. There can't simply be a chase scene. No, they have to reference Terminator 2 multiple times. When a character gets out of a semi-truck, they just have to reference Large Marge in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. There's references within references. It plays Tangerine Dream's Love on a Real Train from Risky Business, while a character is referencing The Outsiders, for no reason. The first one had a few references, but this is insane. It's like every conversation pauses to reference a way better movie. And in case you didn't get the Risky Business reference, later on Cole is sitting in the school office wearing the sunglasses, and a character says to him, "You're like Tom Cruise." Get it, audience? Samara Weaving does come back in the movie in a way that suggests the filmmakers maybe only had her for a day, but I do kind of like the climax of the film, and she does give the movie a huge burst of energy when she does show up. The gore, when it's not repeating wounds from the other film, is still top-notch, but this is just simply one of those sequels that says, do you like the first one? Well, we're just gonna do that again, but not nearly as well. I'm giving the Babysitter Killer Queen a C-. The first one was a simple, fun story, and this takes that and makes it complicated. Stay tuned this week where we'll have reviews for Infidel, Antebellum, Robot Riot. See you next time.